Hello! Welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. I'm a Health Empath, and I just like having these little talks on the way I feel about things. And today I feel pretty good. Happy to report. Yeah. I do. I'm almost apprehensive to say so. 'Cause I don't want something to come along and knock me off my little pink cloud that I'm sitting on right now. It's alright, I'll enjoy it while it lasts. So yeah, today was a pretty good day. I had a nice meditate state. About an hour ago, I got to go about 50 minutes. I started one. It was a shamanic drum session, and my vibe just wasn't really feeling it. It was cool. I'll do it for another time. But the one I ended up doing was a violent flame meditation. You know, balancing your masculine, feminine, and inner child. And I was like, man, that's really cool. I needed that. So I feel good. I had a nice epiphany. See, when I was a little girl, Mom would take us to church from time to time, and I'd always just wander off and go climb trees. You know, what they said we were talking about really had no interest to me. You know, and the older I got, they talked, because I always knew what I was. I always knew that I liked, you know, that if I ever got to get married, I always knew I wanted a pink peg in my life car. In the game of life, I wanted a pink peg. But I always put a blue one and let him drive, just because that's what I was, you know, that's how people said things were, you know. Doing what you're told leads people to do weird things sometimes. It never felt comfortable, never felt right to me, so, I had a lot of terrible things happen to me in the hands of men when I was younger, so when people put the him on God, you know, I could never accept the fact that God was a man, because I've never had an example of a kind and loving man at all. So for, you know, this whole group to say, you know, he, this, that, and the other thing, and we're all his children, well, I was an orphan with parents. So, you know, it's a little different storyline for me of my interpretation. Anyway, fast forward 45 years from all the, you know, all my education, you know, my career in IT and my Air Force career, I was a mechanic, you know, so all things technical is, you know, I always like the functionality of things and how the background's done and the production and all this stuff, So fast forward about when I started hanging out with some mutual friends of a man named Bill W. Chime. You know, what they allowed me to do is come up with my own higher power, my own definition of God, for this exact purpose of which I stated from the trouble of why I had a hard time with God. Because a lot of people have a hard time with God, with their imposed definition of what people tell them God is, you know, and God fear this and God fear that. Well, a lot of things, God's kind of scary, you know, so living in fear, that ain't close to love, and fear and faith can't live in the same vibration. So what I determine is, the way I look at God is the space in between. And every single one of us is made up of atoms and molecules, and you break us down to our lowest point basis, and we're just the space in between. Everything is the space. There's space in between holding this. There's intangible that puts things together collectively that makes things tangible. So, what I look at, because the whole reason why I'm having this conversation is people need to believe in something outside of themselves. You gotta, because most people don't believe in themselves. So if you connect to something that there is a course of action of how things need, there is a divine course and a path in which we're intended to go. Yes, we have the free will to make the choices to go left or right, or forward. Be easy, girl. Come on in. Come on in, little papas. You gonna go suck on your sister? Alright, handle your business. So, it's his meditate state. So what I come to find out is, the space in between. You guys are ruining my epiphany. Come on, Lou. Come on, little girl. Come on, little girl. Little girl. Thanks for coming. We'll come back in a minute. So everybody needs something to believe them outside themselves, you know, because I don't know, a lot of people think that they have complete control over their course of their life until they have a temper tantrum. And I don't care how old you are. I mean, people are shorting out all over the place. People are freaking losing their minds, and they're only going to lose their minds more, because when are they learning to keep themselves cool, calm, and collected? Where do they learn that? No, everybody on the interwebs, since you have the interwebs, they say whatever they want in comments. And now what they're starting to do is they're starting to carry that out into real life. And people are clashing because you don't get to talk that way to people in real life, because it's freaking low vibrational, it's freaking rude. You know, and all this control stuff is all tearing down. So what I found is, you know, and then also when I had the belief system that I was the captain of my own ship and I'm making everything happen, and all my successes are my successes, and that's all my ego. That was all like my unbalance, the masculine in me, you know, burying the feminine. But since I've been made to go within and really freaking look at me and examine my self-awareness and all that encompasses, I got to freaking get my feminine balance with my masculine, so I don't have that overbearing my way I'm right attitude anymore. Now it's all things are possible, and we'll see what happens. And I'm going to try not to tie myself to any sort of outcome, to any situation of how things are going to be, unless it's for my highest good, you know? And so now what I picture, that's why I was so excited to share with Mom. I'm like, you know what I picture Source as, God as, Mom? Like when you look at like a picture of brain, like Google image, like brain scan, and it's all electric and fired up, and how that looks the same as a cosmos, as a star constellation, how things all look like it's connected, like with Halloween spider webs and stuff like that. That's all the space in between. And when we take our last breath, that's energy. Breath is created by combustion, by spark, by positive and negative. That's how the electricity in us is created. You know, we are our own power in a very, very literal sense, and people need to start recognizing it. You know, and so when I picture Source, I picture all that space in between connected together, and then what I bring to that either lights it up or makes it darker, or takes the light. It adds or subtracts. You know, that means what I'm talking about in layman's terms, or lack of a better word or whatever, is how I show up and represent myself at the laundromat, at the grocery store. Am I going to add and be a ray of light in every situation that I go? Or am I going to be a freaking Debbie Downer freaking love suck? You know? And just pointing out all the negative stuff. Because I have the potential to do both. I'm just glad that people are coming into the realization that this stuff exists. You know, and I think people are really, really yearning to believe in something. I know I was, and I'm thrilled to, you know, that's my idea of God. Whenever I'm being loving, I look at that as, like it lightens up. The light, you know, like when people have near-death experiences. I've had several myself when I was a young, you know, I avoided freaking... I avoided my death several times in this life. That's how I know I have freaking guardian angels and things like that, and I have a purpose. And now I understand what that purpose is, just share what I know. That when you get quiet and meditate, you get connected to the space in between. You get quiet and you meditate and you hear, you get connected to the space in between, which is our higher power. That's where information is, that's where data is, that's where, you know, that's where it all is. So more people are getting quiet because they don't really have a whole lot of choice. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Hope you have a rad evening. Peace.